Hey guys, JHub here, and yeah, I actually haven't put out any Black Ops 6 Colder War videos just because I haven't gotten around to it and with how I'm feeling about the game itself. Now, we did a handful of streams, and I actually left the first two of my streams up and public so that y'all could go back and watch it if you wanted to see why my opinion of Black Ops 6 is the way it is. There's some positives, but most of it is negatives when it comes to this game. But I've actually wrote down some stuff, and I'm going to say all the positives first before we move on to, the negatives. So this is my Black Ops 6 post dual beta review. And I guess starting off with the positives, I like the fact that they've kind of fixed the friends feature. Inviting them was super easy, super smooth. People were able to get into lobbies very easily. I loved how I could just go into invite friends, check them all off, send them all as one. We've been having so many issues with Call of Duties over these past, since 2019, where inviting friends is just a pain. They don't show online. It's a chore. But no, with Black Ops 6, it was literally click, go. Another positive is the UI overall is overhauled a bit, and it's more of a callback to older CODs. I know they're not able to fully overhaul everything, but the UI looking the way it is, that's great, because I can't tell you how much it just makes you mad loading into MW3, MW2, and having to bounce around like you're watching Hulu Call of Duty, and it's not okay. But they've overhauled it, it's easier to navigate. That's another +1. Now, this was going to be in positives, but I think it has turned into negatives, because originally I thought that they had removed all the negatives off of attachments. That's what I've got written down under positives. That's not the case, so we're going to talk about that in the negative. Domination flags. I like the fact that the actual flag itself is gone. The actual physical obstructing flag in domination is no more. In MW3, and I think in previous CODs, if I throw a grenade and I can hit the pole, it bounces back. It actually has its own physics. And the obstruction you have when you're trying to look can oftentimes blind you from enemies who are on the other side of that. And I can't tell you how many times it drove me up the wall in previous CODs. I didn't think I would like the zones shifting to dominations because of the way they're drawn versus the standard circular pattern. But now that I've played it with what they've done, I'm happy with that. Just getting rid of the flag pole itself is that much better. Streaks have a visible timer on them. I don't know if y'all caught that, but when you are running through your streaks, like if you throw up a counter UAV or UAV, down in the bottom right, it actually had like a mini clock going to show you how long you had left with that streak. And it's nice that way, like if you're deciding to throw up a UAV and a counter UAV and you're deciding push, push, push because you can see, or maybe they're blinded, you have that little bit of an advantage, and you know when you need to back off once it's disappearing. So timers, that's another +1. This one is, I think, just exclusive to Treyarch. The ammo box, when you throw it on the ground, it immediately gives you ammo. I hate the fact that Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer, when it comes to the ammo box, you have to throw it down, give it a couple seconds, and then try to get your ammo off the thing. Like, when you have completely run out of ammo and like this is your last-ditch effort to stay alive, that can literally be between survivability or dying. And can't tell you how many times I've died because sometimes the ammo box just won't give it to you, and it's frustrating. Also, it's a way for it to fix the ammo box like glitching into the wall. I know in MW3 and MW2, a lot of times if you threw it at the wrong angle, it'd be partially in the wall, and then you just couldn't get ammo off of it. But at least with this mechanic, I'm pretty sure if you did glitch it into a wall, it would still at least refill your ammos and grenades. That I actually enjoyed. Okay, it's gonna actually be a short list. We're going into the negatives. And starting off, the reason why I left those streams up. I have a PS5. And I've actually got a pretty high-end PC. In 3090, it's pretty good. It's not the newest top of the line, but it's pretty good for almost every game. But let's start with PS5. First weekend, I was hitching and stuttering and freezing so bad every 5 seconds. And I went through every suggestion somebody gave me to try and fix that beta. I cleared my PS5's cache. I rebuilt the database. I restarted routers. I turned off texture streaming. I did everything you could think of from a technical aspect to try and fix it. Turns out it's a game issue all weekend long. That's why I didn't stream every single day. That's why I didn't stream for a long amount of time. It was beyond frustrating. And outside of that, I don't know what's going on, if it was like alternating resolutions for me, but when I would end a match, more often than not, it would reset my Elgato. So it would like pop up, Elgato, no signal, give it a couple seconds. Okay, now it's back. And it would freak out over and over and over, almost every match. And then introduced another bug where after resetting it the way it did, now my gameplay is super staticky. Didn't make any sense to me. But it drove me up a wall so much I didn't stream for that long or play that much. So performance on PS5 weekend 1 sucked. Weekend 2, that freezing I had got resolved, but the other issues I mentioned kept going. Not to mention nonstop packet burst. That was obnoxious. And it wasn't just on PS5 that packet burst was happening. When I swapped over to PC, constant packet burst. And somebody saying it's linked to the texture streaming, but I turned it off. So why am I still getting it? If texture streaming is or minimal, people said minimal is off, but minimal might still be minimal. We're at the point where Call of Duty is so big, we're already downloading so much. Can you just let us download, if we're only playing multiplayer, all of the textures? Or if we're only playing zombies, all of the textures, so we don't have to run into this? The fact that we don't have an option just to download it on the side so we don't have to deal with this possible network interference would be amazing. Not everybody has amazing internet, and maybe the consoles can't even process all of that at once. So they need to figure out an issue with that. But let's get into the gameplay. I guess the big one is Omni movement. Omni movement seems like it's hit or miss for the community. You either like it or you hate it. I think for multiplayer, it is a gimmick. I think it's 100% a gimmick. Its entire purpose is the same as the movement was pre-Modern Warfare 22, where it's all about breaking cameras and throwing off aim assist at close range on players by hyper accelerating the movement. It's just adding more animations. The problem is, now with it, they're messing up a lot more issues. Have you always had issues seeing if a player on the ground is alive or just a body? Well, now, depending on like how you dive and turn around and sit there, you just look like a dead body. I think there's a creator out there who literally did that little twist and just watched the entire game as nobody ever spotted him. The gameplay is, you know, super fast and hectic, but they couldn't spot him. I believe that Omni movement is a gimmick, and now that they've also turned off aim assist, I believe, up to 3 meters, whoever is mastering the Omni movement is going to have the clear advantage up close and personal, and being that every map they're releasing with this game is small to slightly bigger than small, I'm not even calling a medium. In my head, every map is like the length of Nuketown minus Rewind that we played, or smaller. Like, what I need you to do is imagine running from the back of one Nuketown spawn behind the bushes to the other side behind the fence, or I guess fence to fence, brown fence to white fence, if I recall correctly. See how long it takes you, right? And somebody brought up Scud, and I was like, okay, I think it still works exactly for that if you place the trench and then the satellite as the bus and the 18-wheeler and the gap in between. And he went, oh. Every map is small. It doesn't make any sense. Rewind, decent size, but the spawns were still just obnoxious and bad, spawning on one another nonstop. But I guess we're moving into spawns. I don't know if I've seen worse spawns in a beta. I think we may have seen worse spawns in a Call of Duty, but it seems like they're trying to do a hybrid of revenge spawns and team-based spawns, because I found many times if I were trying to flank, it would immediately trigger the teammates to spawn on me, which would screw the spawn system. Or an HVT. How many times were you the HVT and then all of a sudden when your teammates got killed protecting you, they spawn on the other side of the map? It defeated the point of the mode. Essentially, the point of the mode is Team Defender from MW3 2011 with you've got plates because we need to incorporate Warzone into everything. And the spawns just didn't work. I think HVT is a very bad mode and needs to go. That's me personally, because it never worked. I can't tell you how many times there's like, can we just skip this? And how many people I've seen online like, can we just skip? It's not a good mode. HVT sucked. And it also kind of sucks that Search and Destroy wasn't in the beta. I know there's a lot of people who are non-respawn modes people. It really sucked. They wanted to try that out. Linking to Search and Destroy, the Tomahawk. Why has the Tomahawk been butchered now? The Tomahawk, in a way, or combat axe, over the years went from being a very quick deploying, cross-map, super bouncy, fun tool, and they tone it down, and they tone it down, and they tone it down. But now it feels like the rest of the game clunky, where it feels like it's super heavy to pull out, doesn't have as much distance. I think the only reason why like Merc Music was able to get a cross map on it was because all the maps are tiny. But then there's also spawn protection for the combat axes, and they can be destroyed by trophy systems. Why are we doing that now? I can't remember if we previously had that issue. I feel like Cold War may have had that and they undid it, but I would figure the combat axe would be the one thing the trophy system wouldn't destroy. I even understand a trophy system destroying an EMP grenade coming in. They have in previous games. But a combat axe, I feel like, is one of those, you know, high risk, high reward, you know, skill-based lethals. But it's easily destroyable. I don't agree with that whatsoever. Moving on to things that really just irritated me to a certain level, which it doesn't make sense. We have skill-based matchmaking, and it was ramped up in the beta. It was beyond horrible. I think if you played with groups, especially if you play with groups with worse players, your lobbies weren't as bad. You played by yourself, pure misery. That was bad. I did that a couple times. They have added in things now to hurt good players even more. For example, the assassin perk. When you get, you know, 2 kills or a little bit of points, why are you now displayed on the mini-map for like 3 to 5 seconds after you fired your gun like you're an advanced UAV for people to come hunt you down and get a freebie bonus? And from what I was experiencing, Ghost didn't counter it. You would think Ghost would counter that while moving, but it didn't. I had people straight up hunting me down. I would get 2 kills, and because the maps were having god-awful spawns, I would have an enemy spawn on me, hunt me down, and immediately kill me. Why? Now, the specialty thing. I guess they're hung up with giving extra bonuses for no reason. If you run all blue perks, you are now given the ability off spawn to see through walls for 2-ish, 3-ish seconds. Are we literally at the point where y'all can't beat hackers, so you're putting it in the game? We have walls now. This is unacceptable to a major degree. And I understand, like, I could see it if it was a kill streak. I think we've had it like as a kill streak before. Say you had to get 6 kills and you hit it, and it's like Vision Pulse where it goes 1 sweep, 2 sweep like a UAV, and then bounces. You earned that. That's your bonus. But the fact that you can die and you immediately can see through walls, and every time you die, you can see everybody through the walls. From what I saw, it didn't even have a range nerf. You could see everybody. And that is beyond ridiculous. Okay? Beyond ridiculous. Why are we doing that? Especially when all the maps are tiny. Because here's the deal. When we add in 8v8, because that's supposedly coming in 6v6 or whatever, what's to stop people from just running a secondary account and just letting it get spawn killed overall, keep an eye on it, and just checking through walls? Furthermore, when it comes to hackers, they're usually good at, people who are creating the hacks, taking things from inside the game, manipulating it, and adding it to hacking in general. So say you banned the full-blown script of how they ever set up the walls, but now they're like, oh, free pulse. Oh, the hack is just making the system believe you died, even though you didn't die, so you just constantly see through the walls. You gotta realize with Call of Duty, we've seen this before, like in MW2 when they added like that crazy mode where you could float or drop grenades or stuff. It was manipulated by hackers and put into ranked. We saw clips of it. So now we have walls. We have a perk that turns you into a blackbird temporarily for a bonus that can't be countered unless you use a counter UAV. That was the only thing. And I'm just sitting over here like, who's making these decisions? These are very piss poor decisions. And it was ruining the gameplay for me. A lot. Another issue that I was having is the game was constantly freaking out. If you were the party leader and running with a group, I don't know if anybody else ran into this. It would take party leader from me and assign it to somebody else in the party. Just randomly. Most people didn't know how to re-promote, fix it out. Sometimes it was also a visual bug because there was 2 crowns, but you're not the party leader, so you had to like quick switch between loadouts and come back to see if who was party leader. What? Like, that's dumb. I mean, I think it's happened before. Something else that I didn't like is the way the hostage part was taken, where you can pick up another player, have it for a certain amount of time, be shielding, and you can shoot. The one reason why I'm not liking it is because, and you've seen the clips, basically turned into a hyper-sexual harassment feature. Where, like, the only reason a lot of people were doing it so they could speak through the mic to the other person and just say whatever god-awful stuff they wanted to, right? And I guess you have a free riot shield. It'll protect you from bullets. You can take out teammates, whatnot. I wish it was more a high-risk, high-reward kind of thing like the Tomahawk. Like, in Fortnite previously, I don't know if it's still doing this because I haven't played it in a while. Like, if you grabbed a down player, you picked up a card and it would ping their enemies. What if, when you took a hostage, not only did you get a body shield, you get maybe a free UAV sweep? Or if we take away that see-through wall things off of the respawn and instead put it on the hostage, it's like, oh, you took an enemy player, here's a free intel sweep for you. High risk, high reward, because you're not going to be doing it non-stop unless you're 2-boxing or reverse boosting. If you're in a lobby of your same skill level, you're not going to be taking them non-stop. It might be a once or second. So, like, giving that bonus would be a much smarter thing, and honestly, I would kill the talking to one another. It's not going to end well. I mean, I'm surprised people are not getting up in arms about it. I don't have a problem with it, but for content purposes, it's going to stain that really quickly, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone at HR and somewhere in Activision is trying to shut it down now. So, hopefully some change is done. I mean, it could be a cool feature. Now, I know I skipped over it. Let's go back to Omni movement for a second. And I said I thought it was a gimmick, at least in multiplayer. And for the reason being, it's like, you're being spawned on top of each other. People are spamming Omni movement, and the whole purpose is to break cameras, break aim assist, whatever. With that being said, I think it would possibly work in Warzone because it is engagement versus engagement. So it'd be like almost, you know, squad versus squad or 1v1 type of skill going up against each other. So it would be action, and then you have your breaks, and then you have your action. That makes sense to add in movement like this. You'll get those awesome plays where it's like you have one life and whatnot. But having it in multiplayer, especially when all you have is tiny maps and you're getting spawned on one another, shouldn't exist. Omni movement, I think this, as long as Treyarch's in control, we might have Omni movement, but I can't foresee it in the future coming back because it's going to be a very, very divisive feature. Extremely divisive feature moving forward. I mentioned earlier that one of the positives I thought with the attachments is that they had removed all the negatives off of them, so you would only have bonuses. Now, we knew some attachments still had negatives to them. Extended mag would be, you know, much slower of a reload, or fast mags, instead of it being like in the old days, just, you know, quickly reloading it. They made it so that you lose a lot more bullets. And then we come to find out a lot of the attachments might have negativities, but they're being hidden from us. They're not being told. I don't know if this was a beta thing or if this is a gameplay decision going forward, which is gonna make like gun stats guys' lives much harder. But for example, it was reported that when you put rapid fire on a weapon, it nerfed your damage range. So like I was running it on the Jackal and it was glorious up close, but I did notice at a distance, it took way more shots than it would had I not had rapid fire. Like that fall off range went almost immediately. So I don't like the fact that they are hiding the different bonuses or negativities. If you're gonna do something, do it all. I would prefer they remove negative aspects. I mean, even some scopes had some downsides to using them, even if it was just like a red dot. I noticed that some of them had like accuracy changes that were negative on the bars at the bottom, which was just weird. Side note on zombies, after the whole COD Next reveal event, I think Liberty Falls was a huge bait and switch. We had an amazing cinematic trailer, and then when the map dropped, it was just like someone chunked a bit of the Warzone map out and stuck it in zombies. It was pretty much just Outbreak, but I think Outbreak was more zombies than what we got. Like, if we had Nuketown and Nuketown zombies, people after seeing that cinematic was like, oh, we're getting Nuketown zombies, when in reality they got just basic Nuketown. I think Liberty Falls was a bait and switch. Back to the maps. We were talking about how small they were. I don't think I noticed many of the maps were actually fun to play on or good maps in general. I think Rewind was a decent map, but, you know, maps like Derelict, I think it was called, I didn't like that at all. Skyline, it visually pleasing, playability, not so much. Scud was okay. It really reminds me of Dome from MW3. It was okay. It was fine. Would have been better if the spawns weren't as crazy. And something else that kind of irritates me is Treyarch is bringing Gunfight from Infinity Ward into this game. Now, we have Face Off. That makes sense. I loved Face Off from MW3 2011. I think that was created by Sledgehammer in the multiplayer. So we have that, but they're also bringing back Gunfight, so I don't know if they're just trying to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. The one Gunfight match that I played, did not enjoy. We were like in an apartment complex and it was super tiny and just sucked. Honestly, like I will personally be skipping Gunfight completely when it comes out. That was not enjoyable whatsoever. Hardpoint, I would think Treyarch would have fixed and had it where anchoring would make the spawns fine. Hardpoint does not work. God awful. We like, for some reason, Hardpoint in the past 5 years has just gone down the drain, and I honestly believe they just need to get rid of it as a whole until they can figure out how to anchor these spawns. But I think the spawns are tied hard into the IW9 engine because now they're forced to use that. I think that's what's going on with that. And the COD HQ, okay. I know why they're doing the COD HQ. COD HQ's entire existence is so that Activision or, you know, Papa Microsoft can go to the shareholders and go, hey, look how many people are playing Call of Duty. They're not going, hey, look at Black Ops 6 stats, MW2 stats, Warzone stats. It's literally, here's the player numbers on Call of Duty. The problem is it makes our experience loading up the game, navigating everything, a living hell. COD HQ and the IW9 engine is what, like, two of the worst things that have been incorporated into Call of Duty and just need to be demolished. Neither of them okay. And let's go back to where we just launched one game on one. And I wish, like, the, you know, Xbox and Steam, like all the ones that Microsoft doesn't have control over, would just step up and go, yeah, we're not doing, you get a launcher within our games launcher. It needs to be our own standalone thing, or you're not on the platform anymore. Because a lot of people hated Battle.net, and so they put all the games on Steam to get more sales, and then they just took Battle.net essentially and shoved it into the platforms. I hate it so much. It is so bad. Overall, when it comes to Black Ops 6, I'm just not a fan at all. I think out of the new era of Call of Duty games, if we go all the way back to Modern Warfare 19, I think Black Ops 6 and Modern Warfare 19 are tied for worst, but currently in this situation, only for multiplayer, because we haven't had zombies drop yet. We've got to experience mechanics, streaks, perk design, and everything of that nature. I'm putting Black Ops 6 as currently one of the worst CODs. It's definitely the worst Black Ops game so far. That we, especially out of the betas, hands down. Like Black Ops 3, I remember coming out flawless, no bugs, no issues. You played, you had fun, whatever. Black Ops 4, I think, was the same. Cold War, I can't remember if we had a beta or not. I want to say we did, but this has been atrocious. So, I'm hoping they do a major overhaul of this game before the game's released. Skill-based matchmaking has been cranked. This game is going to be super divisive. It's going to be super divisive. And I guess we're just gonna find out if it's good or not in the long run, I suppose, because they tried to claim that Treyarch worked on this for 4 years. And the only thing I've got to say is that's a load of crap. Unless they're claiming a small team has been working on it from beginning to end. Because, like, the past 4 years, parts of Treyarch is always being ripped to help out other dev studios. And now there's a rumor floating around that the reason why, season 4, 5, and 6 for Sledgehammer and MW3 has really lacked good new content maps, and it's just so many reskins, is because Treyarch has taken the multiplayer maps that would have been new because they're behind, and then reskinned them to fix the Black Ops 6 aesthetic. Which sucks. It sucks both ways because, like, Treyarch got ripped apart to have to help other players, and now Sledgehammer's getting ripped apart to have to help Treyarch, and it's just... Remember how in the Aether the cycle continues? That's what's happening right now with Call of Duty. And I've got to say, if I'm giving Black Ops 6 a rating out of 10 from what I played over the beta, because I missed a lot of days, it's a 3 out of 10. I would say the performance, the gameplay choices and design, the game is a solid 3 out of 10, and I wouldn't even put it on average. I'm hoping that changes before release, but currently, it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. And it also saddens me seeing that a lot of people who are posting nukes, mini nukes in one game and stuff like that. Like, the nuke animation's cool. I guess I should have thrown that on the positive. I'm glad the nuke's back, but it also kind of defeats the purpose of, like, trying to be the good player to get the nukes when a lot of people are 2-boxing or reverse boosting, of which I'm at the point where I don't care anymore. If you got to do that as a content creator to get your footage, I fully understand. I used to judge heavily, like back in Advanced Warfare and a little bit after, but I don't anymore. But that just means when you pull it off as a creator and you want to show it off, it's not worth as much. You know what I mean? Definitely want you to leave your feelings about the betas down in the comment section below. Like I said, my first 2 streams should still be up so you could get to experience what was happening to me in real time and why I have this opinion. You can leave some comments on that so you know I'm just not losing it. But yeah, let me know how your feedback is down below. Are you gonna buy it? You gonna skip it? Or maybe wait for another free weekend after the game's released to give an opinion? But I don't know. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Drop a like. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.